Hey, family, I just want to say thank you again for taking the time to listen to today's episode. If it wasn't for you guys, we would not be here. We bring every guest on to teach, to motivate, to inspire you. You are the reason that we are here. But the only way we are able to help more people is if you guys can like and subscribe to our channel, or even share a video to your friend. That'll mean the world to us and the team. So enjoy today's episode, and we'll see you soon. So, if I say the word music, what is your relationship to music?
Ooh, my relationship to music. I would say that it is something that would be difficult to live without because music is something that gets me energized to do my own music because I'm super inspired by other music and artists or anything I hear, specifically lyrics. I'm a big lyrics guy.
Mm.
So if I hear certain lyrics, I'll put that musician's face on like, oh, that was like nasty, but like a good nasty. Like it was just like, oh, that was crazy. Whether it could be like secular or church, like no matter what it is, if it's good songwriting, I love it. I'm all for it. And that makes me want to like get up and just like do my own thing. Like, oh, I do it even with Michelle. Like when we hear something good, we both look at each other like, yo, that line was like crazy. And we'll feel like inspired to like, listen, we gotta songwrite again. We gotta like make music again. So like, yeah, I can't imagine. It's tough to imagine without having music in my life.
Mm. So, Brandon,
Yes.
when's the first time you picked up a pen and started writing your own music?
Oof, I cringe when I think about that moment.
Really?
Yeah, no, because it started off rough. I feel like it starts off rough for a lot of people, but for me, I think back to well, it actually started with poetry. So I was that kid in class that would like stay after school with the English teacher working on poetry. I was that into like writing and stuff like that. So it started maybe like around like first, second grade when I started writing stuff, and I guess was a little more advanced than the kids in my class when it comes to like writing. So I started off with poetry, and then eventually in high school, I had already kind of dropped poetry because, like, I don't know, I started feeling self conscious about myself in regards like, okay, I don't want to be a poet like for my life, you know what I mean? Like, whoever says or strives to do that. So I started falling in love with music, especially on the rap side. And one of my boys who I know to this day, from back in high school, he was like my best friend in high school and stuff like that. And he wanted to be a rapper. And because we were tight, he was like, yo, like, have you ever tried rapping? And I was like, not really. I used to write poetry like back
It's
in
the same,
elementary
right?
school.
It's sort of the same.
Exactly. So it was kind of like this. Like I realized it was pretty much the same thing. He put a beat on, and I started writing my own stuff. And fun fact, when I first started writing or try to be a rapper, right? I was like, I try to put on this like deep like voice and stuff like that.
Give
First
us
of
a
all,
hint. Give us a hint.
yo, so it was like, oh no 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 no, like, like I really put like baritone in my voice, and it was cringy lyrics. Like I wrote a love song for the first one, or we attempted a love song, and it was just yeah, it was humble beginnings for sure. But I put on this whole persona. But as I grew, like I understood like what it meant to like really, I guess, rap for real and stuff like
Mhm.
that, and not put on this persona and just rap like myself and stuff. So humble beginnings, but that's what I could think of when I when I first picked up a pen and tried to do the whole rap thing.
With you, beginning writing,
Yeah,
what was probably the first, you know, I think, like you said, you brought it up a little bit. When it's the first time, it's always rough. It's always a rough
for
beginning.
sure.
What is maybe one song you started writing that you wish you can go back and change?
One song, like
Yeah.
specifically.
Not like something you maybe produce.
Uh
Maybe you
huh.
have still written in your notebook, like something you go back and like change. And
Oh man, it's a lot of them. But if I'm being honest, I don't know if I would change them because I'm very big also on like if it was meant to be written this way, it was meant to be written this way, and if it was not meant to be written that way, then it was not meant to be written that way. And everything is a learning curve. So the songs that I write today, I feel like would not have been possible if I didn't write the songs that I did before. So would I change them? I'm not too sure if I would because I wouldn't have anything to grow from, if that makes sense. I wouldn't really have that, even though they're cringy, right? Some of them are cringy. I wouldn't have anything to like look back to and says like, man, like I came from that and I've learned from that and stuff like that. So I'm really big on what I can learn from certain things, and yeah, I'm not too sure if I would change any of them.
That's a good point, because
Yeah.
I think you don't want to go back, and you learn from those mistakes.
Right.
You learn from it and be like, hey, maybe next time I just won't write that. But since I
Yeah.
released it, since it's out there, I'm not going to change it.
Yeah.
If one person liked it, that's good for me. We'll keep pushing.
Literally, and I'm so glad you mentioned that's really big on me as well. Like in regards to like, even if one person like enjoys the content and they felt encouraged by it, or they felt like whatever, even though I might deep down like hate it because I know like, yo, this is cringy, like I could have done so much better. I'm also, I tried to be like, listen, like if you liked it, if one person said they liked it, then we'll stick with that. I'm not gonna go back and change it. And I've never released something or like written something to where at least one person, didn't say that they liked it in some, facet. So that's enough for me, man.
I've never written music, right?
Mhm.
I love music though. I love all types of it, like rap, rock,
Yeah.
not metal, but rock. I like hip hop here and there.
Yeah.
How does the writing process work for you?
Well, I'll start off with this. You're low key slept on, because you like once I saw you was we was playing the cajon with us in church, and like I heard you. I hear you sometimes do the vocals and stuff like that. I'm like, yo, this kid, he's low key like he's good. So yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, once you come out of your box, I'm very excited for that. But for me, like the writing process it comes from inspiration, honestly. So obviously, like for me, someone that loves to write for the church and write in general, God is obviously my biggest inspiration. But when it comes to like, it was kind of like I was telling you earlier, like in regards to when I listen to music and I hear that line that's like so good, or I hear like a chorus that's really good, or something that's built even production wise, beat wise, whatever. For me, I still dabble in rapping, even though I'm more focused towards like songwriting in general. So if I hear a good beat, right, I'm like, man, like I can see myself killing that beat, right? Or even just a song in general, like that has nice lines, like that. Those are the things that make me want to get into the booth. So my writing process starts with the inspiration that it comes from. Then once I get into it, I can think of a line even throughout the day. Like God will really like give me something that's like, hey, write about this. I'm just like, oh, okay. That's like I don't think I've heard people like talk about that before, even write about that. That's been happening a lot recently. And I'll jot it down in my notes. And what I have to do is I have to take my phone and record the melodies or the lines that I'm hearing in my head. Because if you're a songwriter, you know this, like the worst thing in the world is when you feel like you have something good and it completely escapes you. Like you're not able to remember what you just thought of. And it's like, oh my gosh, like it's almost like when you feel like it's like for a songwriter, if I could put it in any comparison, it's like when you feel like you have to sneeze, but it's just not coming out. That feeling like, like, right. So, it's super important for me to like record even the simplest melody, no matter what, because I'm probably going to forget it later. Once I'm able to get that down pat, I have to find intentional times to go back to writing it, because this will be random times throughout the day. So it's at work. I obviously can't have a spontaneous writing session, you know what I mean, at work and stuff like that. So that's where like the phone comes in handy. If it's really pressing on me, I'll literally go to the bathroom and like for whatever, like 5-10 minutes and just, get some stuff down. Yeah, start writing some stuff. And again, I have to be intentional when I go back to it, because unfortunately I have a lot of unfinished projects like on my phone in regards to like writing. So it's just about, getting into it. And then once I feel like I have a good foundation, I find people to like work with, to continue writing, to develop instrumentation, behind it. Because one thing I'm not, unfortunately, is like a producer. So I'll hear things in my head and I'm going to have to ask somebody that is talented in that regard to try to put that to life. But, thank God I have amazing connections when it comes to that. Once that's done, just the partnerships that I have at that moment, bring it to life. And honestly, man, it is one of the best feelings in the world, because there is a couple songs that I have out there released that I'm not necessarily singing on, but that I've written. and that there are churches like singing that,
Mm.
you know what I mean, and are like singing the lyrics, and it's of no for me, this it's not for me to get like fame, but like I'm more humbled. Like it is a different type of humbling experience to have God say like, hey, I want you to write this, and then like, all right, and then you write it, and then literally like his people are singing it. Like I can't explain that feeling, like how amazing like that feeling is in regards to like, yo, like, you know, God used you, like, you know what I mean. So um yeah, I'd say that's like pretty much like beginning
Yeah.
to end and stuff.
And I like how you basically led to my next
Yeah,
question. I want to pick your brain at
yeah,
how is it. The reason why I'm asking this question is because I think a lot of people are talented on their own,
mm-hmm.
and it's hard for them to reach out to other people for help, and just it's hard to even build those relationships and maintain them too.
Yeah.
How is it working with other artists? Because you have said you've written for other people as well.
Yes.
How is that relationship? How does the relationships work for you?
So that is something that I wrestled with so much before, because I feel like if I'm writing something, it's almost like it's my baby, and it's tough to like give it up to other people to like work on it, or, you know, see it even, and like hear it, because you feel like almost like that insecurity, like, are they gonna like it? You know, is that something that they're even gonna want to work on? So sometimes, a lot of times, I have that battle within myself where I have to put my pride down, and I have to say like, okay, like I have to present this to people that I know that will be able to bless it and add to it and add value to it. And that's that's a struggle that I have. But once I push through that wall of kind of like, okay, like I have to present it, and it always turns out, literally always turns out for the better. Like it's always a great decision to partner with people. So I would always recommend to partner with people with whatever you have going, especially if you reach a wall and you feel like you can't like, get to a certain point, or like if there's a chorus missing or a bridge missing or a verse missing, like whatever, like go seek the people, man. Like it's not just you. Like God is not just going to use you, and like the talent just doesn't stay with you. Like it's with like those that you can trust and partner with, and like be willing to, like, I'm not saying it's going to work out 100% of the time, but from my experience, man, it's always amazing. You feel less of that burden, and you feel like people like, it feels good to feel like people are willing to partner with you in whatever it is that, you feel like you want to do, whether it's writing or anything else. So I definitely recommend it. It's usually a great process. It's not always 100% smooth. There's always like things that are presented that's like, I'm not sure if that's going to work. But just trusting the process, you know what I mean? Just trusting the process. And that usually comes with like some gold, honestly.
How do you manage if an artist is rough to deal with?
Oof. Thankfully, I've never had an experience to where it's like you have to sever ties, but there have been instances where I'm in a songwrite, or like a songwriting thing, session, and somebody will just keep giving like suggestions and suggestions, and it's just not quite meeting like the mark or the purpose and stuff like that. But generally, it's not so bad to the fact to where we can't use anything that they're suggesting. But yeah, I would say like if you're going into a songwriting session, go into it not like, you have to go into it with low expectations, meaning like if somebody's inviting me into a songwriting session or just a creating session, I'm going into it saying like I might be able to give like 3-5 golden nuggets, like where it's really blessing what's trying to be created in that atmosphere. And I also have to go into it knowing like I might not be able to give any good golden nuggets, but I'm still part of the process, and I can give suggestions, and I can still find ways to like add some value into it. Yeah, that's kind of like, yeah, what I would say about that.
And there's one song you came out with that I really, really love. It's Spirit Bomb,
Ha.
right?
Yeah,
Spirit Bomb is
yeah.
the song that
Yeah.
I enjoy a lot.
Yeah.
How did that writing process come about? How did this actually, forget that question. How did this song come about?
So I used to watch Dragon Ball Z, right? So Spirit Bomb came about from literally like the move that, Goku does in regards to like the Spirit Bomb, right? So he develops all this power. You see the whole like ball in the air, and he just drops it, and everybody's done. It's like an anime nuke, if I could put it in layman's terms, I guess. But I thought of that, and I always think of like, yo, that'd be cool to twist it like Christian, and like you think about it, like it has the word spirit in it, right? And I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, what's a way that God can like use that? I'm just imagining in my head, and literally the chorus is kind of like depicting that image of like having the spirit like come together and just like the spirit dropping on us, right? And just in just a major way. I literally just wrote to that. I wrote to that concept. I wrote a rap to that concept, and like, amen that you think it's like it's
That's
dope.
pretty
You know
dope.
what I mean? Like for me, I'm just like, oh man, do people even still listen to this song? So to hear to know that you still like listen to that and like still like love the song and stuff like that, like that's amazing. I know people that listen to it at the gym, and like that's kind of like their pump song. So that's amazing. That's amazing that you still listen
Did
to
you
it.
get any help regarding writing that song, or was it just you?
I wrote the entire song.
Really?
So I've never, so with songwriting for the church, I'm always like down to like have a songwriting session. For me as a rapper, I don't know if it's bad, but I always keep to my own lyrics rap wise. I don't have like ghostwriters. I don't have anything like that. When it comes to rap, I kind of do my own thing with the writing and stuff like that. So any bar and stuff like that, I just, yeah, it's on me. From God obviously, but like I'm ready.
You like to be, you like to have that to you. Like you want to
Correct.
make sure like the words are flowing from you.
Yeah,
If it's
exactly.
you the one that's rapping it.
That is correct. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So that's something I stick to. Like I'll have features on my songs and stuff like that. It has
Yeah.
nothing to do with that. But like just when it comes to my own lyrics, like rap wise, yeah, I write my own stuff.
Interesting to know. Never
Yeah.
knew that. I thought you actually had out. But it's okay.
Yeah.
There's another topic I want to touch on.
Yes.
It's your, you could call it your 9 to 5, the one that produces majority of your income that you take in.
Indeed.
And it leads into the financial world. And what is the title that you have?
I am what you call a licensed relationship banker.
What does that mean?
So that means I am someone, my primary way of payment is by the referrals I do to the other roles of the company. For example, if you come into my office and you say you need something, or I'm in my head, I'm seeing that there's a need and you might not even realize it. The way that I refer you to other people that can help you out in those ways, that is a big way. And let's say it works out. That is a big way in how like I get paid and how I'm able to help you. So for example, if you come into my office and say, hey, listen, like I need like a mortgage. I need help getting a home. I, as a relationship banker, have connections to where I can get you to somebody that will do the best job ever in getting you that mortgage. And because let's say they end up getting you that mortgage and stuff, it trickles down to me as the referrer, and I'm able to get a piece of that, like
Commission.
exactly, like commission. So I'm able to do a lot of things. Like sometimes I feel like an octopus in the branch that I work at, like because I just do like a whole bunch of like connections for people. But it's great because like imagine like being able to be fed from something that you don't really have to put too much work in. It's kind of like, that's what I love about my role, because I feel like I'm not really selling. Like I'm kind of like, even though there's a commission, it's kind of like more natural. Like we both end up seeing like the needs that you have, and I'm able to just kind of like direct you to the place to where you'll get your
help.
your need and your help and stuff like that. And that comes with like commission if it ends up working out and stuff like that, which more times than not it does. So in being licensed, I had to be like, for example, for investments and stuff, I had to take mad tests to be able to call myself licensed and be able to do the referrals that I'm able to do today. So if you had $100 million, in Jesus' name, if you had $100 million, you're kind of like, Brandon, I don't know what to do with this. Like I need professional like help with that. I'm just like, bet. Let me show you to my guy. He is amazing in that. I mean, I have my own basic knowledge, right? But we have somebody that works on the investment side that is in tune with what you should do depending on what your goals are. And if that works out and it's like $100 million, that's probably gonna like pay like rent for me. You know what I mean? Like, so stuff like that. So I think it's an awesome job. It's really dope. That's kind of like the basis of my role.
What is your, I'll rephrase the question.
Mm-hmm.
What is the thing that you're good at? What is your primary, like, come to me if you need help? I'm not going to send you to
Oh,
no one else.
yeah,
I'm your
yeah.
guy that can help you. What is that?
I would say with like I'm really good with like tech in regards to like online stuff. So if somebody needed help with like online banking and being shown like where to go, I'm great with like the app and stuff like that. I'm great with like nobody else needs to see you. Like I got you. Like when it comes to that. Even like getting credit cards, like I am like phenomenal when it comes to suggesting and recommending different credit cards depending on your need. I'm great with yeah like the online stuff. Like I said, like on that side. Yeah, I wouldn't really recommend anybody else. Here's the thing, like with the online like maintenancing and figuring out what goes where, I don't really get paid like when it comes to that. There's minimal payment. Like if I'm helping you set up Zelle and stuff like that, that
Nothing
pales in
happens to you.
comparison to like what I would get like commission wise for somebody that is looking to get a mortgage or like do investments and stuff like that. That's where I get my most payment. But I never mind, helping out in any regards. You know what I mean? I kind of like let the chips fall where they may.
Mhm.
I know I'm gonna get more people coming in asking for online help than for help with my mortgages and like investments and stuff like that and like setting up business accounts. But they come in, so I kind of do my role and serve in whatever way that I can, and understand that some months there's going to be a lot of great commission, and some months it's going to be on the lower end. So yeah.
So you're talking about credit cards. What I want you to teach the people for a second.
Oof.
What is
Okay.
something that regarding credit
Yeah.
that maybe people in your circle, people that you've talked to,
Yeah.
are not understanding?
So credit. Sometimes people are scared of credit.
Mhm.
They're scared of the word credit. They think credit like, oh, I don't want to get into that because I'm going to automatically get into debt. People don't realize that a lot of times like debt could be good. Like there is a good debt. So for example, um, I was working with a guy one time that didn't understand what it meant to have like good debt. So if, for example, there is good debt and bad debt. Bad debt is having a car loan because your car is going to depreciate. Good debt is having a mortgage with a property that is going to appreciate in time. So even though like you're paying a mortgage and you have that debt, like you own the place. You know what I mean? Like you own it. So that is, yeah, and the property is going to only appreciate more times than not. So that is a good debt. So that's just an example. Because going back to the whole idea that people kind of try to stay away from credit because they feel like it's going to be like bad for them and bad for their score and stuff like that. But I would say that especially in this country, for the things that you might want to do and like big things that you might want to do going forward in the future, like people will be like 30 years old and not have any credit cards, and they want to do big things like get a big property, and they think just because they have like $500,000 set up in their savings to get a property and like get this big thing and like put a big down payment on stuff, they think that that's enough, and they kind of run into some hurdles because they don't have any credit history. Like you can't go to, for you James, like if you were someone that was like just a bank full of money ready to give away, and I was somebody like, hey, listen, like I need this money, I have this money to give you, but like it's a borrowing service at the end of the day. You have to be able to trust me that I'm going to pay you back. And when you look back at my history, I don't own any credit cards. I've never like dealt with like debt before, and like showed you that I can pay off like debt. I'm able to do that. I have no history. So for you, you're going to be like really shaky. You're going to be like, I don't know if I want to give you this money to help you out because what can you prove to me? So that's why I always recommend like start getting your credit cards at an earlier age. I say get them at 18. For me, like, because 18 is the limit. Like get your first credit card at 18, knock that out. Do your due diligence, make your payments, be responsible with it. That way just right at 18, you're starting off with like a great history, a great credit history. That way you're able to do big things when you're growing up and stuff like that, and you're becoming an official adult. Like even for like where I'm working at, we just developed a card that is able to be given to those that have no credit history at all. Because getting that first credit card can be tough because no one can trust you that you're going to pay it off. It's your first one, right? And so what's cool is that there are some places that offer credit cards for those that have no history and stuff like that. So I always recommend start getting your credit early so you can start showing that you can pay it off soon, so you can do big stuff, and big borrowing services can trust you with that. Helps out with interest rate, helps out with the whole shebang. Because your interest rate, yeah, I mean, should I mention how like interest rate works?
You could if you
All
want.
right, yeah. So interest rate is basically like, okay, like I'll give you this money, but it's gonna come with interest. So it's gonna like you're gonna have to pay me back not only what I'm giving you, but also there's gonna be some added interest to it, meaning that it's gonna be higher
The
than what I'm
extra.
giving you because that's the deal that we're making. That's how a lot of borrowing services make their money. But you'll find more favor if you have a better history because it's also a trusting. Like it goes into the trusting. Interest rate is also developed on like how much they trust the person. Yeah, I feel like I said a lot there. There's a lot of nuggets, but that's kind of like where
you did talk about the 18-year-olds getting credit cards right away.
Yeah.
If you look at the grand scheme of our country,
yeah,
and just debt, that relationship to debt, would you say that again, that 18-year-olds should get credit cards?
You have to be responsible. So if I'm an 18-year-old and I can trust myself and I know that I'm going to take it seriously, go for it. You know what I mean? Especially if you have your parents backing, because at that point, you're 18, you're still like relying, on parents and stuff like that majority of the time. So if your parents as an 18-year-old feel like you are responsible enough to do something like that, go for it. But you have to really lock in with the fact that, hey, this is something that I can pay off. I'm not going to OD. I'm not going to be swiping my credit card if I know I can't pay it back in time. But I recommend it to the 18-year-old that genuinely feels like they can be responsible and also has the backing of their parents, right? Because not every 18-year-old is going to get a credit card, but you're right in the respect of like you do have to make sure you are in a responsible mindset. For me, when I had my first credit card, unfortunately, I did not do things the right way.
Same here.
Yeah, so I had to kind of like, get into a place where it's like, okay, well, I got a credit card, awesome. And I am currently not in the greatest position because of how I ended up reacting to getting a credit card. Because somebody says, hey, here's something, you could buy whatever you want. It's like, what? Oh, snap. You swipe, and sure, you do your little payments here and there. And then next thing you know, it's like, wait a second, like, okay, so I didn't pay off my full bill. They told me I didn't have to. But why did I just get like an added like $75 to my bill? And that's where I learned about interest rates and stuff like that. Because I didn't pay off my full thing, I have added interest onto there from the people that I'm borrowing from. Right? So it's all about being smart with it. Credit could cripple you or it could make you. Like it's like you have to be smart with it. You have to be really responsible with it. So anytime I'm recommending a credit card or I'm getting a credit card for somebody, I'm telling them, yo, get your balance that you owe down to zero as quick as possible. And what's cool with a credit card is that you're able to do that anytime you want. Like for me, I have disciplined myself to a point to where if I'm doing purchases, I'm paying that joint off like within the week. I'm not going to even wait till my bill is due, which is every 30 days. I'm going to pay it off literally almost through every week. So because like if you spend throughout the month and you get all your purchases and stuff like that at the end of 30 days, that ending balance, it could be overwhelming sometimes. And it could be like, dang, like I spent that much. Like I really did that much. Like I have to pay it off like all in one shot. You don't have to. Like you can pay it off weekly, daily for every purchase. If you want to be that person that goes back into your account and pays it off as soon as you buy it, be that person. That's just only better for you. For me, I don't have that patience, but so I do a week, but it's doable. Like credit is not a scary thing unless you make it a scary thing, unless you put yourself in a scary position. But you can really like be wonderful in credit and have a great score if you are responsible and do what you got to do.
Good point. I wish this podcast was longer because I have so many different other questions to ask regarding this topic.
Oh, we already low on time? Oh, snap. There's a minute left. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. I hope I gave a good amount of info.
You gave a lot of good info.
Time that I had.
A lot of good information. Someone has learned from this for sure.
Amen to that.
I asked this question at the end of all my podcasts for this season. And this question is, if you have one phone call to the entire world,
my God,
what does Brandon say?
One phone call for the entire world, and I'm talking to the world. Wow. I would say hang on. I would say hang on, because there's always better. There's always better after any storm. Hang on.
It's good.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you for taking your time to be here.
Yeah.
You know, this podcast has just started. We're on only season 2.
Yeah.
And more guests will come like you. And just thank you for your wisdom.
Yeah.
Thank you for your honesty.
Yeah, of course.
And I appreciate you, Brody.
Absolutely, man. It's
Thank
my
you.
absolute pleasure. And I'm low-key already
That was
excited
terrible.
for
We're
part
going to try
2.
that again. Ready? 3, 2, 1. There we go.
I'm low-key already excited for part 2. I got to come back.
Yeah,
bro.
we got to come back.
If you would have me.
I would definitely have you.
Unfinished business in this
Peace,
podcast.
guys.